Colleagues, I am so immensely proud to be part of a political party that time and time again stands up for those fleeing persecution, a party that very much says it loud and says it clear: refugees are welcome here. And conference, now more than ever, it is essential that that message comes from this conference over and over and over again, because these are incredibly dangerous and frightening times, with the future of the Refugee Convention and other fundamental human rights laws under attack as never before. And at the forefront of this full-on attack is a right-wing Tory government and a disgrace of a Home Secretary with our so-called Illegal Migration Act, one of the most horrendous pieces of legislation to be passed by Westminster in decades. This anti-refugee law has nothing to do with saving lives. It is all about saving a few Tory seats through disgusting, dehumanising politics. Conference, implementation of this Act will see an already collapsing asylum system, to all intents and purposes, closed down completely. International conventions on refugees, trafficking, human rights and the rights of children will be shredded alongside what little is left of the UK's reputation. Progressive modern slavery legislation will be destroyed, with devolved parliaments, our Scottish Parliament, once again totally ignored. Fundamental human rights, not least the right to liberty, will be drastically curtailed. The rule of law and access to justice undermined. But conference, it is the real-life implications for the people, the human beings caught up in this poisonous legislation, that are most sickening. Every man, woman and child, no matter their circumstances and histories, are to be treated in the same brutal way. Whether it's a man fleeing state-sponsored persecution because of his sexuality, or a woman tortured and raped because of a religious conversion, or a child trafficked here by gangs for exploitation. This Tory government says, we don't care. If your entry into this country was it irregular, and of course it was irregular, there's no other way to get here, then that's all that counts to the Tories, not the horrors that these people have endured. To this government, these aren't people, they are a political problem. And this new Act sets out very deliberately to treat them as dreadfully as possible so that others are discouraged from seeking protection here. So a return to relentless immigration detention lies ahead for them. Protections for vulnerable people and children tossed aside. The Home Secretary can basically detain whoever she wants for as long as she wants. New rules see people excluded from having their asylum or human rights claims processed, not just today or tomorrow, but forever. It leaves genuine refugees either waiting to be removed to Rwanda for years on end, or left in permanent limbo without status or the right to work, when instead we say they should be offered protection and a chance to rebuild and get on with their lives and contribute positively to our country. Trafficking victims are also disgracefully abandoned. For the overwhelming majority, there will be no more government-sponsored recovery period. There will certainly be no leave to remain. And the only people celebrating this will be the people traffickers themselves, whose victims are being driven right back into their control. Delegates, the treatment of children is shocking. More will be detained and for longer. The recent practice of dumping them in unregulated and unsafe accommodation is enshrined by this Act. Protection as refugees or trafficking victims is made impossible for these kids. Instead, they will live with the prospect of being kicked out at the age of 18, or even sooner, hanging over them. But there will be no prospect ever of offering them citizenship. So, conference, let us say loudly and clearly, not in our name. And while Labour equivocates and dissembles, not even clear if it wants to repeal this rotten legislation, it's more essential than ever that we stand up for the Refugee Convention and international human rights laws. Conference, we don't just need rid of the Tory government, we need rid of these rotten Tory policies as well. So let us continue to be the party that welcomes, not vilifies, those people seeking sanctuary and safety amongst us. Please support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stuart. And our second speaker on Resolution 2, speaking in favour of the resolution, is Alison Thewlis MP. Welcome, Alison.
Thank you very much. Conference, I am proud to represent Glasgow Central, Scotland's most diverse constituency, the constituency of Kenmure Street and standing up for our neighbours. I want to put on record from this conference, from this platform, our thanks and our appreciation and our solidarity for everyone who has done us the honour of making Scotland their home. We do this conference in the face of the UK government's hostile environment, started by Labour, turbocharged by the Tories. Conference, I sit across from people at my advice surgeries every week who are ground down by this cruel, broken system. And it breaks my heart to explain to them, to know that the delays, the dehumanising hardship, the painful separation from their families is not a bug of the Home Office system, it's a deliberate feature. There was a dystopian TV show recently called Years and Years, and given the hideous rhetoric from the Conservative Party conference, it feels that this fiction has become our reality in this broken United Kingdom. In Glasgow City Council faces a crisis situation where the Home Office may well go ahead and batch process the asylum backlog, which will have the effect of suddenly evicting people from Home Office accommodation and making at least 1,000 refugees homeless in the city of Glasgow in the depths of winter. Cruelty laid upon incompetence, and the Home Office are doing this quite deliberately. Conference, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Scotland desperately needs an alternative, and we can do so much better. Let's treat people with the dignity and respect they so deserve. Welcome people, lift the ban on them being from working. Allow people to contribute as they so dearly wish to do and as we would wish them to do. Conference, the Proclaimers said, we're all Scotland's story and we're all worth the same. Your Scotland's story is worth just the same. Reject the divisive politics wrought by Conservative governments and Labour governments alike. Reject the Illegal Migration Act. Support asylum seekers and refugees. Please give your support overwhelmingly to this resolution. Thank you.